You just woke up, your phone buzzes, and this message pops up. Your bank account has been credited with 1 crore rupees. Now pause. What would you do next? Let's play this as reality for a while. Take a pen and paper and write down where you would use or spend that 1 crore rupees. Every expense, every plan, every dream. Break it down with actual amounts. This part matters. Don't skip it. I want you to pause this video here and take your time. Done? Good. For a few minutes, forget your current income. Forget your job, your debts, your doubts. Let's pretend this money was always meant for you. You're a crorepati now. But let's imagine what happens next, based on the list you most just created. Emotionally, at first, there's excitement. Finally, you feel free, like life is no longer just about survival. Maybe there's a rush to make parents proud, fulfill delayed dreams, give your loved ones the life they deserve. You feel powerful, deserving, seen. But then, doubt creeps in. Did I make the right choices? What if this finishes too fast? Do I tell people or keep it a secret? Guilt might slip in. Fear of losing it starts to feel heavier than the joy of having it. You start second-guessing every swipe of your card. Or worse, you don't. And just keep spending to feel something. Financially, the numbers start shrinking. Your 1 crore rupees slowly losing its weight. After one big family trip, party, a car, and repaying a few loans, you buy that house. But now you've locked a chunk in a non-liquid asset. You invest, but without proper knowledge, just advice from YouTube influencers and social media groups. Suddenly, unexpected expenses appear. Old habits return, just upgraded. The same lack of budgeting, the same emotional purchases, the same scarcity mindset, now disguised as abundance. Soon, you're not planning your wealth. You're managing your leftovers. Practically, you didn't really change. You only reacted to having money. You didn't transform for it. You didn't build a strategy. No system. You followed a wish list. And that's okay. Most of us were never taught how. So practically, your life feels temporarily better. But structurally, it's still fragile. You're still depending on that one big amount instead of building real financial intelligence. And now the worst part, you've tasted more, but built nothing. This is what happens, emotionally, financially, and practically, when money arrives, but the mindset doesn't evolve. Most people believe that seeing 1 crore rupees in their account would change everything. And in many ways, it would. But here's the truth. That one moment, what you do next after seeing that balance, can either pull you out of financial struggle for good, or quietly pull you back into the same struggle, just dressed in more expensive clothes. Now stop. Read your list again, not with desire, but with awareness. Because the real question isn't what you'd buy, it's what that list reveals about you. So, what does your list reflect? Your list, written without even having the money, already predicts what you do with it. And that means it reveals whether that 1 crore rupees is likely to arrive in your life at all, or slip through it unnoticed. Now that you've looked in the mirror, let's walk through what your reflection is trying to teach you. In this video, we'll unpack the full picture. 1. Why do most people go broke even after coming into big money? We'll explore the real psychology behind sudden wealth and why it so often doesn't lead to freedom. 2. What do the wealthy do differently? We'll break down what successful people do when wealth enters their life and how true wealth is built even before the money arrives. 3. What would the ideal next step look like? We'll walk through the right move, mentally and financially. 4. And finally, we'll leave you with one money principle that you may have never considered, and yet it could change how you see every rupee that ever enters your life again. Let's begin. So let's say the money really did come in, that 1 crore rupees. It's real now. The balance is sitting in your account. You're no longer dreaming, you're living it. But now the question is, can you handle it? Because data and history say otherwise. In just 3 to 5 years, most people who come into sudden wealth end up with less money than they started with. Not sometimes, most of the time. Let's look at some examples. Nearly 75% of lottery winners go broke within 5 years. Take Andrew Jack Whitaker, a US winner of $315 million. In just a few years, robbed multiple times, lost his family, filed for bankruptcy, later said, "I wish I'd torn that ticket up." Why? Because he got money without building the identity, habits, systems, or emotional intelligence to handle it. Mike Tyson made over $400 million. Gone. MC Hammer had $33 million. Gone. Countless actors, cricketers, athletes, same story. They lived rich, but they weren't wealthy. And when the spotlight faded, so did the money. And sometimes, so did the self. Because here's the thing, money multiplies who you already are. If your mind isn't ready, money won't fix the cracks. It will amplify them. But let's shift the frame now. Let's talk about something way more common and more dangerous. Early success or easy success. That first big paycheck. That one viral video. That trade or profit from stocks early. It feels like you've made it. Like you cracked the code. Like the game changed in your favor. But if that success comes before structure, stability, and self-awareness, it doesn't stay. Here's a better way to think about it. You're playing snakes and ladders. But what you don't realize is, every move is actually a chess move too. You roll the dice. But this isn't just luck. Most people think the dice is random. It's not. It reflects your preparedness. It's strategic beneath the surface. This is a dice you can train. This responds to mindset, habits, clarity, and how you think, plan, and act. Most people land a big win, rush up the board, and then one impulse, one emotional slip, and they're back to square one. But here's the truth. Most people don't lose their money first. They lose direction. Let's change that. Just like skydiving, you need mental preparation before the leap. There are 3 silent forces on this board. 1. The hidden game. Do you even understand the game you're into? Most people think they do. They don't. 2. The dice. Have you learned how to roll it with strategy, not just impulse or fear? Results are not random. They're reactions to how you think, plan, and act. 3. The snakes. Do you have the courage and system to handle the fallback without quitting the game? Because snakes, fallbacks, are part of the board. Always. And that ladder? It might not be progress. Sometimes it's just a polished shortcut to the next fall when you don't understand the above 3. Now think about your life for a second. Have you seen these forces in action? Or have you been moving without even realizing they're shaping your path? If not, early success might feel like a ladder, but it's often a well-disguised snake. Or not getting success might feel like, this is how it is. But it's not. You still saw only the half of the half reality. Early success is not a reward. It's a test. Not of your talent, core values. If success arrives before your mindset is ready, you don't grow. You loop. You go up fast and come down even faster. Therefore, most people spend the win, emotionally and financially, without understanding the game, without learning the dice, without preparing for the snakes. So, when the next roll comes, they don't fall from failure. They fall from false belief. You didn't build a strategy. You don't build a plan. We often chase upgrades, but forget to upgrade the user of that wealth, ourselves. You build stories like, I'm different. This will last. I figured it out. And then the moment fades, and you're left with a lifestyle and identity, and no structure. And that time, you weren't rich. You were lucky. Luck gives you a moment. Mindset gives you a lifetime. And luck disappears when you stop learning. So ask yourself, am I preparing for success or just fantasizing about it? Do I have systems or just strong desires? And if success comes early, will I be ready to stay there? Because most people don't go broke after a failure. They go broke after a win they never understood. And that's the difference between rich and wealthy. Rich gets lucky. Wealthy gets ready. So ask, if sudden money entered your life today, would it free you or would it expose you? We saw how sudden money without mindset can quietly become a curse. Now, let's flip it. Let's zoom out for a second. Zoom out like a pilot before takeoff. Scan the entire runway, not just the destination. Most people think that once the money comes, everything gets better. But the truth is, money doesn't change you. It amplifies what's already there. So why do the wealthy grow while others shrink? It's not income, not IQ, not background. It's that their internal compass was calibrated before the success arrived. There's a pattern that shows up when you study wealth over time. The most successful people often do the most boring things when the money first arrives. Let's take a few real cases. Let's simplify. Here's what the wealthy do differently. Imagine this. You're 33. You just exited your startup. 8 crore rupees in the bank overnight. Everyone expects the car, the celebration, the upgrades. But this guy did the opposite. Rented a simple 2 BHK, hired a financial coach, created a structure for his cash. And here's what he studied first. Not stocks, not real estate. Himself, his reactions, his habits, his emotional triggers. Because he didn't just receive the money. He learned how to relate to it. Even when Warren Buffett was worth just a few $1,000s, he didn't say, "I'll think like a millionaire when I become one." He already had his compass. He lived by the principle. Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. He didn't wait for the chains to trap him. He built new ones intentionally. You'll find this pattern across most real-world success stories. Elon Musk didn't splurge after his first big money. He reinvested everything and moved into a small rented apartment. Oprah invested in herself before her empire. Naval Ravikant studied leverage before he earned millions. These weren't accidents. They were early systems. Let's simplify. Here's what the wealthy do differently. 1. They think in systems, not wish lists. Most people think, I'll get the money, then I'll figure it out. The wealthy think, if I can't handle 10,000 rupees well, why would 1 crore rupees be any different? They define values and build systems so emotions don't hijack the process. 2. They prepare for the crash before the peak. Wealthy people ask, if everything crashes tomorrow, what do I fall back on? They simulate chaos and plan for it. 3. They train for delay and prepare to multiply. They practice waiting. They don't upgrade the car just because they can. They delay the pleasure spikes. They train their dopamine, not just their decisions, because they've learned. A quick spike often leads to a quiet drop, but steady patience leads to freedom. They think, how can I turn 1 crore rupees into 3 crore rupees, 3 crore rupees into 6, without losing peace of mind? Pause for a second. You've seen the difference now. Same money, same moment, 2 lives, 2 outcomes. So now ask yourself, are you chasing riches or becoming wealthy? Do you want money just to escape or to build something that lasts? And if the 1 crore rupees shows up tomorrow, will you still be the same you? Being rich is like winning a race once. Being wealthy is knowing how to run again and again without burning out. Because what the wealthy know is this: the person you become before the money arrives determines if it ever stays. Now comes the real question. What would the right next step actually look like? If 1 crore rupees showed up in your account today, what should you do first? Most people sprint. The wealthy, they pause. They observe, not react. And then they act with clarity. Let me tell you a story you've probably heard, but this time, hear it differently. In the 1970s, psychologists at Stanford ran a simple experiment. Researchers placed a marshmallow in front of a group of 4-year-old children. They were told, "You can eat this one marshmallow now, or wait 15 minutes and get 2. Some kids waited, some didn't. That was it. But here's where it gets fascinating. Years later, those same kids were tracked as adults, and those who waited scored higher in academics, had better emotional stability, managed stress more effectively, and, yes, were more financially secure. Why? Not because they were smarter, not because they just delayed a treat, because they had learned something most people never master: how to resist instant gratification for something more valuable later. They trained their impulse, and the ability to pause is the first step toward building anything real. The wealthy train their emotional resistance. They know how to delay gratification. And in a world that rewards instant pleasure, the one who can wait wins. Now imagine that marshmallow wasn't sugar. It was your future wealth. So if 1 crore rupees came into your life today, the smartest first move is not to spend. It's to zoom out. Ask, what do I really want from this money? Will this action help me build a life I don't need to escape from again? Am I upgrading my freedom or just my furniture? Because the most important question isn't what to buy. It's how can this 1 crore rupees become the seed, not the spike, of something that lasts? That's the first next step. Not reaction. Reflection. Before you make a move, make sure your mind has arrived there first. So, if that credit message shows up tomorrow, even with some less zeros, can you pause long enough to make a decision your future self will thank you for? Because coming money doesn't make you wealthy. Knowing what to do with it does.
पैसा कमाने के साथ-साथ उन पैसों का क्या करना है ये भी पता होना चाहिए.
So, if your first move is pause and reflect, then the question is, what are you building with it? And that brings us to the one idea that can change everything about how you handle money. You've imagined the money arriving. You felt the thrill, the confusion, the weight of it all. You've seen what the wealthy do, and what most people never prepare for. But now, let's make this simple. All the success in the world won't matter if you don't know how to think about money from the inside out. And there's one principle that quietly separates those who build wealth from those who just collect money. It's not about what to buy. It's not even about how much you earn. It's about this: money always follows value. Let's say that again. Money follows value, not hype, not hope, not even hard work alone. Money is a mirror. It reflects the value you create, the problems you solve, and the trust others have in your ability to do those things again and again. When you receive money, whether 1,000 rupees or 1 crore rupees, you're not just being paid. You're being trusted to do something valuable with it. If your money disappears fast, it's usually because the value stream stopped, or because no real value was created in the first place, only a lucky spike. So the real question isn't, how do I get more money? It's, how do I become a person who creates more value, sustainably? Most people treat wealth like a lottery ticket, but the wealthy, they know it's a garden, rooted in patience, watered by habits, and grown with intention. You don't just throw seeds and hope. You plant with intention. You understand seasons. You learn what nurtures value and what drains it. Your habits equal the soil. Your mindset equals the weather. Your systems, and the irrigation. Your values equals the roots. Money? It's the fruit. If the fruit is rotting, don't blame the fruit. Fix the soil. You can't force fruit to grow, but you can wake up every day and tend to your soil. Let this sink in. You don't get rich. You become the kind of person who attracts money and knows how to make it stay. It's not about manifesting crores from thin air. It's about removing the internal blocks that stop you from thinking clearly about wealth, handling it with strength, and making it multiply. You want to build wealth? Here's what to start doing before any money shows up. Checkmark 1. Create value before you're paid for it. Because building wealth without contribution is just counting numbers, not building meaning. Start small. Help someone. Solve a real problem. Build something, not for money but for meaning. Because the world always pays, and eventually, those who compound trust. 2. Track your values, not just your expenses. Because peace of mind doesn't come from money, it comes from alignment. List where your money goes this month. Now ask, does this align with the kind of life I want to build? If not, it's not just your money that's leaking. It's your alignment. Wealth doesn't begin with income. It begins with intention. And the people who build real wealth, they don't chase money. They chase meaning. And let money follow. Because the truth is, it's never just about how much you earn. It's about how much value you carry into every decision. And that value starts way before the 1 crore rupees ever shows up. Because in the end, how you manage 1,000 rupees is how you'll one day manage that 1 crore rupees. So if this video sparked a shift, then wealth has already entered your life, not in your account, but in your awareness. Take a moment and really sit with it. Revisit the list you made. Ask yourself, what story does it tell? What belief does it reflect? And what would a wealthy version of you do differently next time? Because in the next video, we'll take this further. Can you actually see 1 crore rupees in your account without losing peace of mind? And what if you never do? This journey is just beginning. So if you're ready for it, hit subscribe and let's keep growing wealth neurons together. 1 step, 1 neuron at a time. Till then, be patient with your habits, be honest with your money, and stay curious about your mind. Because that's where wealth begins.